Okay, so I just finished watching all of the Dragon Ball Z movies, all 13 of them, um, and I'm going to be ranking them all. I'm going to update this list as I watch the Dragon Ball Super and the Dragon Ball OG movies, and maybe even the GT OVAs. But for now, this is just going to be purely a Dragon Ball Z, the 13 movies, the original 13 run. I know that Battle of Gods and Resurrection F uh, are technically called Z movies, but in my mind, they're super movies. So I'm gonna be ranking them with the super movies as I watch Super. But I am pretty familiar with them, but I want to save my ranking until I watch them again. So this is gonna be the original 13 run of the Z movies, and I'm just gonna go through it. So before I go ahead, you're gonna notice there's no S tier. I don't think there's a single S tier Dragon Ball Z movie. I really enjoy bits and pieces of Dragon Ball Z movies, and I think there's S tier moments in Dragon Ball Z movies, but by no means do I think there's an S tier Dragon Ball movie. And if there is, it's like on a ranked on a curve. So like if I were to put these on a letterbox or something, I wouldn't rank anything beyond the 4 out of 5 stars. Um, so that's number one. But there are plenty of 0 out of 5s. That's number two, and then number three. The way I would rank this is, is the enemy design interesting? Is the premise interesting? Um, is the fight choreography good? Is the use of its characters meaningful or interesting in any capacity? Does it sound good? Is the music good? The sound effects are good? Is it animated well? And does it not overstay its welcome? I mean, you're kind of when you watch Dragon Ball Z movie, you kind of know what you're going in for, right? You're not expecting a narrative masterpiece. You're expecting to have a good time and some visual eye candy. Does that movie achieve that, right? And so that's how I'm going to be ranking this. Okay, I'm going to start off like right off the bat with the best one. Fusion Reborn is far and away the best Dragon Ball Z movie. I think it achieves what it wanted to achieve very well. Um, it's paced really well. The concept is very interesting. It's very Janemba is a very cool villain. And I think he's such a fan favorite because he's so cool. His design is interesting. Conceptually, he's interesting. He's like an accumulation of all the evil energy that gets drained out of spirits who go to hell. Um, and that evil energy overflows and it invades some demon, and then that demon turns into the Janemba. I think both forms of Janemba are super cool. One common complaint that I have with a lot of the movies is that the second form of the villain is actually worse than the first form, and they just turn into like big, bulky muscle guys that are like totally uninteresting. Um, and that to me uh, is prominent to a lot of the movies. But Janemba is actually one of the rare cases where the fourth form is actually really cool, but the second form is actually really cool. And his moveset's interesting. Conceptually, he's interesting. Visually, he's interesting. The set design with like the gumdrops and like the jelly bean, how like reality's being warped into like jelly beans and like gumdrops, and they're being used like to throw like things around. I think it's beautiful. I think the sub and the dub are fantastic. This is one of the best movies to watch dubbed because the dub does a really phenomenal job. Um, it's paced well. It's funny. It's actually funny. I think the attempts of humor here are good. Um, and it has Gogeta. And Gogeta, when he steps on screen and he's on screen, even if it's for like a couple minutes, it just elevates the movie. Daddy's home when Gogeta is on the screen. So it's an A tier movie for me. Easily and far and away the best movie. It's the only movie that's going to be on this tier. Next one, Super Android 13. It's honestly a B tier movie for me. I don't think this movie's bad. In fact, I think this movie's pretty good. It's among the better of the movies. I think the something that sticks out to me in the movie for Super Android 13 is how dire the stakes are in this movie. Like Goku messes up and like gets his ass kicked over and over and over and over in this movie, and he does in every movie, but in this one, I think it's the best use of that trope, because literally everybody, and I mean everybody in the movie, has to step up to do something. You have Gohan, like at the end of the movie, Goku is charging up the Spirit Bomb, and everyone understands that they have to waste time from Super Android 13 to get Goku to get the Spirit Bomb, and literally everybody's like doing whatever they can. Even like Krillin is like doing something, like just throwing like a meaningless key blast just to distract them for like 5 seconds, just so you can have those extra 5 seconds. Piccolo's just like holding him on his body, and he gets like totally like destroyed. Trunks, like he also like basically almost dies, and he gets like a blast in his face. Like the movie has a really good sense of like dire situation, and of like, oh my god, these characters are really trying to win. And I really enjoy that. Let me zoom this in a little more actually. I think that's a lot better. Yeah, I think this is a lot better. And I think that gives this movie an edge that the other movies don't. Um, I think the fight choreography is really good. I think Super Android 13 is gorgeous. Is honestly gorgeous. Um, and it has some of the best fight choreography. I mean, the Goku getting punched in the balls, that's classic. Um, and then I also want to say that the dub for this movie is very special, because for some reason Funimation decided to give everybody a funny accent, all of the enemies a funny accent, and so Super Android 13 has like this southern accent, and um, he just plays off so well, and all his lines are like so electric. Then the $30 haircut line, you have the Trunks, you're just a slave line. I think this movie is really good. I think this movie is really good. It has a good pacing. Um, it has it's gorgeous. The fight choreography is great. And again, you get to see Trunks. You get to see Trunks, Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta. They're all trying, and I think it's really good. Oh, and it has a really good Vegeta opening, like a Vegeta entrance, which again is rare, but um, appreciate it when it shows up. BoJack. BoJack's also a B tier movie. I really enjoy BoJack for a lot of the same reason. Oh, the only thing I'll add to Android 13 is that this one is the worst. This one suffers the most from the movie villain power up. So when Android 13 turns into Super Android 13, his cool design just goes totally down the drain, and he just turns into a blue bulky blob, which sucks. And all his personality's gone, which again sucks. Um, BoJack kind of goes through the same thing, where he's like an interesting design with like the space pirate theme and the do rag and everything, but then he just turns into like a green monster, and then it's kind of whatever. So that one's there. This one's unique because Goku's not in it, and I think it serves, and it's for the movie's benefit. A lot of these movies suffer from just Goku winning, and just Goku like getting owned, and then everybody buying time for Goku to do the special move, and then Goku does the special move, and the movie's over. So Goku's not in it for most of the movie. He's actually just watching it literally from the sidelines because he's dead, post Cell arc, and I think this movie, similarly, I think the concept and the beginning of the movie is actually really interesting, where you have someone like wanting to do like a super version of a Budokai Tenkaichi tournament, but it's also like a game show. And so you have like Tien, Trunks, Yamcha, Krillin, Piccolo, Vegeta, all fighting in these like really unique areas, which is really cool. And then the finalists, they would have to go to like these game show areas where it's like all based on like different locations. So like one was like in a cyber realm, and then there was like some of the taking place in a cyber realm, but then they go to like an old like 1920s city with like old timey skyscrapers, and that was really cool too. Um, this one is cool because I really enjoy I really enjoy because I guess I'm trying to see how I can phrase it. I really enjoy Gohan in this movie, and he frankly has like one of the best moments in the entire franchise in this movie by him single-handedly defeating like everybody in this movie um, with one punch. Um, Trunks is also really cool, and it has like one of my favorite scenes where Trunks and Tien have that fight, and Tien forces Trunks to go Super Saiyan, and it's like little moments like that that I really appreciate because these are like rare character interactions that you never really see in the franchise that are explored a little more in the movie, which I enjoy. And that's why the movies should exist, so they can give you like an extra light in these moments where they previously don't exist. So I appreciate that's there, 100%. Super Broly 2 or Broly 2 is kind of in middle of the road. Like I don't hate it, but I don't really like it that much. I wouldn't call it bad, but I wouldn't call it good. Um, I like Gohan's design in this movie. Gohan has the best design of the entire franchise in this movie with the purple blue gi. He looks amazing. Um, and again, having the ensemble of Krillin, um, or I'm sorry, Videl, Goten, and Trunks with Gohan is really interesting as well to me. Um, this one is cool because the first part of like the movie is basically like a Dragon Quest side quest where they're like trying to prevent a mountain god from eating village people, and then they get up to like traditional Dragon Ball hijinks with a literal like red herring getting in the way before Broly comes out, and I think that's really cool. I think the movie falls apart in like the later half where Broly and Goten and Trunks are like basically play fighting, and there's like no stakes in the battle at all. And Gohan takes like an excruciatingly long time before he arrives at the battle scene, um, and he basically gets owned. Um, there is some really great imagery, but then towards the end, there's some really great imagery. But in the middle as well, there's some really great imagery. Like Broly at one point gets like seen as like a monster of the mist, and you can see like his silhouette like being covered by like the mist of the lake in the early morning, and I think that was a really cool like visual. I really like Broly's more slimmed down Super Saiyan version in this one, or his design in this one. Um, and the father son, and the father son with the father son Kamehameha with Goten, Gohan, and Goten, Gohan, and Goku all doing the Kamehameha is like really cool. So I like this one. Not that much though. It's kind of in the middle of the road. Pacing kind of ruins the movie, and there's a lot of pee jokes in this one, which is kind of uncomfortable. I'm not really sure like why they went down that route. So there's like a Goten joke, and then a Trunks pee joke where he literally pees on Broly, and Broly just kind of is nonchalant about it, which is funny. But this one's kind of whatever. Garlic Jr. This one's also kind of whatever. I don't hate it. I certainly like it more than Broly too, so I should go up. But I don't think it's as good as BoJack or Super 13. Um, It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful movie, and it has one of the best set designs in the entire movie catalog. The fight choreography is also really beautiful. You get to see Goku fight with like the pole, the the red pole, which is really cool. You rarely get to see that, and you really get to see like the more um, what's the word? The more um, martial arts side of him, and I think that's really interesting. But again, it's the movie kind of spins its wheels a lot, and the ending is interesting, but also kind of contrived, which is not the worst thing in the world. And when talking about Dragon Ball movies, but it's not great. It's it's all right. It's all right. Garlic Jr. is not that interesting of a villain, but having Goku and but since this is so early in the franchise, actually having Goku and Piccolo team up and being like the big two is like super cool. So I enjoy that. I'm not sure what this one is. Is this Broly? Is this Broly? Is this Broly 1? Hold on. Dragon Ball Z Broly movie. Is this Broly 1? Yeah, okay. So this one's D tier. I do not enjoy Broly 1 at all. I think it's one of the worst movies in the catalog, despite Broly being so popular. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I know Broly's very popular, Z Broly, and he's a fantastic design. But I think this movie's just it's just horrendous. I think I'm debating putting it in F tier. I think it's like the second worst movie in the entire catalog. Um, Horribly paced. Choreography is not great at all. Um, Broly, all he does is either like or chest beam, key blast, or clothesline his enemies. Um, the whole Goku asking everyone for power and Vegeta not asking for power is just not giving him power is just so contrived. Vegeta breaking character and just like shitting his pants and not wanting to engage in the fight at all until the very end is really bad. I think it takes a really long time to get going. Everybody knows that Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan, and the movie plays it off as it can be anyone. And it's very, very frustrating and very, very irritating to having to watch through that. And then when the actual fight happens, it's not entertaining at all. And then the whole everybody give me power and everyone gives Goku power and he does that one punch. It's just not interesting. Not interesting. And it's very contrived. It feels very very contrived. It feels very reductive as well. Um, because another movie does literally the same thing, and you know we'll get to that. And I think not BoJack, Super Android 13 does the exact same thing but better. Um, and I'm not sure, and I think, and I know Broly came first, but um, I think Super Android 13 does the same thing but a lot better. And I know another movie does the exact same thing as well, and it also achieves it better. But yeah, that's basically it. I think I prefer movies that don't like sugarcoat their their willingness to just introduce enemies just for the characters to fight. This one with the whole like, oh, come to my planet, and we're on my planet, and we're finding the legendary Super Saiyan, and the legendary Super Saiyan could be anybody. Oh, but it's actually Broly. That did not work at all. I'd rather have like BoJack just show up and be like, okay, I'm gonna kill Goku, and then that's it, as opposed to like build up to something and then just fail spectacularly. You know what I mean? So that's why it's towards the bottom. Speaking of uh, horrible concepts or great ideas with horrible execution, Turles is probably the most disappointing movie of the bunch because the concept is really strong. So it's like, um, what if Turles, or what if there was an evil Goku, right? And he had to fight the good Goku, and they're identical in everything. Well, maybe like Turles is like a shade darker, but like whatever, right? The movie does nothing with it. That doesn't make mention of the fact that both Gokus look that Turles looks exactly like Goku. And then there's like this whole Tree of Might thing where it sucks energy from the planet, and whoever eats it becomes invincible. And actually, Turles achieves his plan. He eats from the Tree of Might, and he becomes like super powerful. But then, in very in in ways that can only be described as Dragon Ball, Goku gets stronger. He gets energy from the planet, and he's able to beat Turles. And then he reverse engineers the Tree of Might into giving the energy back to the Earth. And there's like this longish. This is one of the Icarus movies. I think all the Icarus movies are not good. But it has like this extended like forest deforestation or like forest plot where you're like have to save the, save the um. Oh my God, I'm like blanking. Like save the. Oh my God, I'm blanking here. Save like the forests from like a fire or something, and it's just like not. It's just not interesting. Um, This one's just the most disappointing, and it drags. It also does not look good at all. It's arguably the worst paced movie. The worst paced movie. It drags and drags and drags and drags. This should have definitely been cut by like a third because the movie really does drag, and it has one of the worst pacings in the entire franchise, and it also does not animate well. It's one of the worst animated movies. All of these generally have pretty strong animation. Tree of Might has some of the worst animation of the catalog. The area design is beautiful, and the Tree of Might is gorgeous, but the animation is really bad. Lord Slug, another slow movie. I don't know if this is an Icarus movie, but another slow, awfully paced movie. Lord Slug is not interesting at all. His design, arguably the worst design out of this entire batch, except for one. Um, he's just not. It's just not good. The false Super Saiyan thing, I don't even hate it for. I don't even hate it for that. Then towards the end, but like the false Super Saiyan doesn't do the job. Um, and then the false Super Saiyan doesn't do the job. Oh, sorry. So that's not even like so it wastes the Super Saiyan thing instead of just doing anything else. Toei blew their load too early, and they waste and spoiled the Super Saiyan before the actual Super Saiyan was showcased in the anime. And it was really going to be showcased like not like maybe like the week or 2 weeks after the fact that this movie premiered. So they really had no excuse, but that really harms the movie. It makes it a hard watch. But it makes it like a weird, curious watch just for the novelty of it. Um, but then it just goes into like the whistling. This is an Icarus movie, and then the whistling is just not. The whistling thing is just so contrived, and it's like so annoying. So I don't think it's very good. I really don't. Um, cooler, cooler one. I'm debating whether to put it in C or D. Um, I think this is another. I think this is another. Oh man. I think this is another C or D. Um, I'm gonna put it in C. Um, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's as bad as Turles, Lord Slug, or Broly. I really don't. I don't think it's as good as. Uh, yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah. It's about as good as Garlic Jr. That's fine. This one also doesn't animate very well, but it has the best looking Goku out of all the movies, in my opinion. It has like that Namek, classic Namek Saga design from Goku, which I really love, and that really big and bulky with that like nice yellowy shade of gold that I love. When the floofy hair Super Saiyan, which I love. It also has that classic moment where Goku revives a bird with his hand, like Jesus, um, which I can't help but love. I'm a sucker for little things like that. So yeah, it has some good moments, and it's gorgeous in the area in some areas. There's like an extended period where it's like Goku is like hurt, and Gohan has to fly on Icarus all the way to Korin Tower to get some Sensu Bean, and then flies all the way back. So it's like kind of like Namek Saga in a sense, where like they had to where like in the Namek Saga they had to transport the Dragon Balls back and forth without like it like getting like stimulating the radar or like having the radar go off, the scouter. So this movie kind of does that as well, where Gohan has to go get some sensu beans from like halfway across the world and then go back to his dad. It's fine. It's not. It's all right. The dub. I want to make mention of the dub has some really good lines here as well. Um, they're not like accurate to the Japanese, but they are cool. Um, like at one point when Goku goes Super Saiyan, he goes like, "Oh, when you hurt people, you're only hurting yourself. I don't understand like why you have the need to hurt." And Cooler goes, "Oh, I don't care. Like I don't care. Like might makes right, and it's only by power where like people's fates are decided." And then Goku goes, "Okay, we'll play it your way." He's like, "Okay, Cooler, let's play your way. Let's go!" And then he turns, like he like explodes with power, and he just beats the shit out of Cooler. I think it's a really cool. I think that's a really cool moment. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to C because Metal Cooler is horrible. Metal Cooler is genuinely horrible. It is one of the worst movies as well. It is like genuinely a really, really, really bad movie. Um, looks like shit. It's paced like shit. Um, it it spent so much time doing comedy bits as well that it really sucks all of the tension out of everything. Metal Cooler conceptually is a great design. Um, but him coming back, Cooler coming back after being like blown into the sun and being burnt like to a crisp is a little hard to believe, but like whatever. Um, this is like the first movie where you have Goku and Vegeta as Super Saiyan, so you have like the double Super Saiyan thing, which is cool. And it has that classic scene where you have like Goku and Vegeta going Super Saiyan against an army of Metal Coolers, and then they lose. That's great. Um, and then that one shot of like Cooler's head, like the OG Cooler's head attached to the computer, and Goku just blowing up the computer. I think that's good. So for that, it's not an F tier, but in every other metric, it's an F tier. It's not a good looking movie. It's paced like shit. Um, they try to have comedic moments, and the comedic moments don't work at all. It's just not a good movie. It's just not a good movie. It's too long as well. This is another one where it's just way, way too long. Um, yeah. So I think it's probably maybe not the worst, but the second worst. I think Broly's probably a little worse. These are tied for second for sure, and then these are probably tied for third. or fourth worst. Bio Broly is far and away the worst one. Like, I don't know if there's any Bio Broly fans out there, but like this one is such a hard watch. None of these movies, like even something like Broly, which is not very good, or not good at all. The worst I can say is that it's boring. Like I'll watch it. Like I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna be pulling my hair out watching it. I'll watch it, but I'll be bored. Bio Broly is just bad. Bio Broly, I feel like it's like a genuine waste of time. Um, why on earth did they decide to bring back Broly in this capacity? Makes no sense to me. Why on earth were they thinking when they made Bio Broly? They saw the design and said, "All right, we cooked. This shit's fire. Let's go." I don't know who greenlit that. I'd love to talk to the person at Toei who said, "Yeah, this shit cooked. This shit's gas. Let's go." Either Toriyama had like a bunch of clout and he said this is what the design we're going with, or someone was smoking something. Somebody was on that Bio Broly, uh, while designing Bio Broly. So I would have really have loved to talk to that person. Um, the movie has no stakes. The movie has no climax. The movie has no funny jokes. The movie looks like shit. The movie takes place. Its scenery is not interesting. And it is of total inconsequence. Like nothing of note happens in this movie. Nothing. Uh, the moment Bio Broly comes out, you know that all it takes is for him just to throw him at the goop so he can like get destroyed. And then when the goop gets out of control, at no point that I thought anybody was gonna die or suffer or even like get some consequence from the goop gunning all over the laboratory. And then when the goop started leaving the island, at no point did I think anyone was in danger because I knew that the water was going to stop the goop. There was no stakes. There's no consequence. Goten and Trunks are at their worst here. Android 18 saves the movie by virtue of being hot, but like, and Android 18 being cool, but like she does not play any significant role. She does not play enough of a significant role to get this movie from the bottom of the catalog. Um, this one is just like the Tapion one, the Tapion one, right? Yeah, this one's good. This one's good. It's long. It's a longer movie. I think it's the longest movie in the catalog. I think it's like 70 minutes, where most movies run around 45, 50 minutes. So it's definitely longer. But but I think it's unironically the most intriguing and interesting of the bunch because it's a Dragon Ball Z movie that's mostly narrative based with like intrigue and mystery surrounding characters that are not in Dragon Ball at all. So the cast finds this old man, and this old man is saying, "We want I want you guys to use the Dragon Balls to revive this great hero called Tapion or Tapion." Oh, sorry. I want you Sea Fighters to revive this old great hero called Tapion, and you know have him prevent like a cataclysm that's coming to the Earth. And then so the Sea Fighters do that, and they're tricked in releasing the cataclysm by releasing Tapion. And then Tapion recluses himself, and he it gets angry with the Sea Fighters, and he says, "You guys made a big mistake. I don't know why the fuck you guys did that." And obviously, like Trunks and Tapion develop their relationship, and it becomes intriguing because you, as the audience, you're like, what the fuck is Tapion's deal? And then you look at the monster and you're like, what the fuck? Why the fuck is Hirudegarn, so like coming out so much? And why is Tapion constantly playing the ocarina? And it's like, why is he? Why can't he sleep? And he has to stay up all night constantly. And so like that is like really good. intrigue. It's not really good, but like for Dragon Ball, it's like amazing intrigue, and it's very narrative based. It feels like a JRPG like movie. I think the big part, I think the my problems with the movie are and it has Great Saiyaman 2, which is a goated design, which is a top tier design, one of the best designs of all time from Dragon Ball. So that in of itself deserves a B tier. I think the reason it's not an A tier, and I wouldn't go any higher. I think these are all tied for like second, but the reason it wouldn't go any higher is because it is long and it you can kind of feel it towards the end. It's kind of like okay, this is kind of spinning its wheels. The movie's starting to spin its wheels and not go anywhere, progress. Um, and then having Goku be the one that deal the finishing blow to Hirudegarn, not Trunks, not Tapion, not Gohan, which makes sense because why would Gohan do it? But like the movie builds up a relationship between Tapion and Trunks, and they're not used in the fight at all. Instead, Goku's the one that does the fight. So again, it's kind of like the last prior movies we've been avoiding using Goku, right? So like even like Bio Broly and Broly 2 and Janemba and um, what else? And Bojack, right? Like we've been trying to avoid using Goku, and I think they've been doing a good job. And then in this movie, in movie 13 or the Tapion movie, I think they go into their habits again. They go into their old habits. This is also the last movie they were gonna make for a while, so I guess they wanted to have a goodbye, like say goodbye to Goku, but that's probably not the case. Um, this one has to be World's Strongest with Dr. Wheelo because that's like the only one that's missing. Uh, yeah. So this one's C. It's like the top of C tier. I think it's better than everything here, but not as good as the B tiers. So if there was like a C plus, it would be this. It's actually really cool. Um, Everybody participates in this one. Like Krillin participates, Bulma participates, Chi Chi participates at some point, and she fights. Um, or am I thinking of Lord Slug? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Chi Chi fights in Lord Slug. She does not fight in World's Strongest. But uh, Roshi fights, Bulma fights, Krillin fights, Piccolo fights. There's that big scene where like maybe wait, I'm maybe getting my movies. No, no, no. This is a scene where Piccolo gets like invaded, and yeah, where Piccolo gets invaded and like gets brainwashed, and Goku and Gohan have to like repair him and like get the brainwash to get cleaned out, which I think is cool. I think the big robot, the Dr. Wheelo robot, is cool. I think the locale is really cool. Like this lab in the middle of like Antarctica, like in the sunken, frozen underwater or underground cave. I think that's cool. Um, and I think the movie's gorgeous too. I think it has one of the most beautiful beam struggles in the whole movie, where like Dr. Willow does his blast and Goku does the Kamehameha, um, and then sends Dr. Willow into the sky or into space. I think that's really cool. So I think it's a good movie. I think it's good. Again, it's kind of formulaic. It's not really like anything that's like really puts it like over the top for me, but it has a lot of, but it's like generally very enjoyable. So this one's like a three. These would be like my 3.5s, and this would be my four, or maybe this would be like a yeah, this would be like my 3 or 2.75. These are like my two and a halves. These are like my ones, and this is zero, right? So like uh, that's generally how I see the tier lists. Um, I'll update this with the Super movies and the OG Dragon Ball movies as I see them, but I just wanted to rank the original 13 One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So that's kind of my ranking for these movies. Um, Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next one.